Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another Kickstarter critique where I take a look at a different Kickstarter project every single time and give you my honest thoughts on how it's being ran. And today was a special Fiverr order. Someone backed my Fiverr, so now I'm covering their project. And it is the 15th most popular project on all of tabletop games. That is Sidequest decks. Monster hunts, small towns, pulp adventures, RPG Sidequest decks, monster layers, small towns, and Pulp Adventures. Okay, so I don't like that. Feels a bit redundant since it's right there and right there. So I would totally use this information for a little bit more about the game. I mean, the price, what it is, how many cards you get, anything, the artwork, you know, you get what I'm saying here. But $43,000 raised, so that's a great start right there. 693 backers. And you're at the 15th, 16th spot, I think I said, on popularity, which means you have people engaged, you have people coming back, so we need to try and figure out how we can get them to come back a little bit more frequently so we can keep climbing those Kickstarter algorithms on the popularity chart, because the higher we climb, the more likely it is people will stumble across your project, whereas if you slide down, you know, 15 rows down means that they've already looked at 45 other projects before they even get to you. So that's how important the popularity can be. So as always, when I watch this video, I'm thinking of three things. Do I want it? Can you do it? And how much is it? Hopefully you can convince me of at least one of those right now.
Ever have your party head off in an unplanned direction? Perhaps they take an interest in a random NPC instead of the character who will lead them on the next quest. Or perhaps you struggled with populating an area of your world or fleshing out a hex crawl with interesting quest ideas. If this has ever happened to you, grab a Sidequest deck. Each card comes equipped with a...
So the first thing I like here is they immediately knew who their audience was. This is not something that some random person who's never role-played is just going to stumble onto. They knew that they were talking to dungeon masters right now, and that's who they catered this to. And I love that. This is not flashy. There's no catchy music or anything like that. This is like, hey, are you a DM? Do you have these issues? One of these three issues? Which chances are, yeah, you've probably had one of those three issues if you're DMing. Here, this can help you. Love it. Straight to the point.
Evocative summaries bound to pique your interest and engage your play.
I love how all this text is up here. If I wanted to pause it, I could read exactly what's going on all these cards. Spectacular.
Simply select a card of your choice and the adventure is ready to continue. Cards contain a brief background section for the game master. There's more than one way to get the quest started. Multiple encounter ideas set the seeds of adventure, and open outcomes provide options that the adventure might continue.
Oh, that is so hot. That is so hot, because that's kind of giving a little bit more game to the DM. You know, that's great. I love that. I love that.
Area maps are included, and you can build upon the adventure by integrating the additional locations of your choice.
And it's not like mind-blowing artwork, but the bottom line is, it doesn't need to be. And I love it. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm not even a role player. Like, that's the thing. So when I come into these role-playing ones, I'm always just like, it's such a weird thing for me to do, but I love to still feel excited for things that there was another one. They had like this whole book of maps. And I was so excited for this book of maps that it was like, I don't know how to use this book of maps. I will never use this book of maps, but I'm excited for the people who are going to use these maps. And same with this.
Additional locations of your choice. We're looking for your support to expand our successful line of Sidequest decks. The new decks we plan to make are Monster Hunts, a deck of various monster lairs. As with all our decks, each has GM background info, a couple of ways to kick off the adventure, several possible encounters, and a couple of follow-up ideas. But in this deck, we're including a couple of cards describing which creatures might be useful for what types of magic items or powerful spell effects.
Now, one thing I want to mention here is a lot of the times I don't like when you tell me too much in the videos. I think this is an exception, because I am literally hanging on his every word to find out I'm looking at this from the perspective of, do I want this? And the answer is immediately, if I were a DM, yes. Yes, so everything else you're telling me from this point on is just icing on the cake. It's gravy on the mashed potatoes. I'm excited. I'm chomping at the bits to find out more, and then hopefully we just get straight to the price. I mean, because that honestly I think would be the best strategy.
Several side quests can be strung together to make a campaign to create a magic item and defeat the big bad evil guy.
Wow.
Or use them as one-offs as needed. Our second new deck is filled with pulp adventures.
Wow.
The story ideas are based on real historical myths and lost artifacts. Although most are set in the early to mid-1900s and will be reminiscent of the adventures of Indiana Jones, as outlines, the side quests are portable to any era or even world.
Wow.
Our final two new decks are adventures found in towns.
Nice.
While you can easily set these in any town you'd like, our Frontier Town side quest deck is set in Ice Breath Ridge, the town of our Frontier Townsfolk NPC Portraits deck. And our Coastal Town side quest deck is set in Fin Shadow Bay, the town of our Coastal Townfolk NPC Portraits deck. The portrait decks aren't necessary, but can augment the adventures. Inkwell Ideas has made a plethora of side quest decks for various settings. A classic Dungeons, Caverns, and Ruins fantasy deck, or the High Seas Pirates and Ports deck. Whether you're looking for wilderness side quests and urban encounters, or exploring eldritch themes of horror or necromancy, Inkwell Ideas has the side quest deck for you. Embrace alternate genre decks, including modern superhero, spy, and crime family dramas, as well as science fiction outlines. Be it classic fantasy or a tale from another world, Inkwell Ideas side quest decks provide inspiration to your tabletop game.
I think I got lost somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. I feel like this is when it got to be a bit too long. Like you showed all your cards, and now you're just saying, hey, we got add-ons. We got add-ons upon add-ons upon add-ons upon add-ons upon add-ons. That's what I'm getting right here. And I feel like that extra 40 seconds of mentioning that, you didn't need it. So right now, I want the price. I want straight into the price. Do I want it? Can you do it? You also kind of answered that in the video. You know, you just said, oh, we've done this. We've done this for this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And I see 18 created, 86 back, and I say, all right, this is an awesome member of the community who doesn't have a collaborator on their project. Oh, that makes me worry a little bit about the customer service there. Anytime I see that scares me about customer service because, you know, if your project explodes, it's going to be really hard to manage those updates and those comments, especially when it's just one person and you have a sleep schedule and you have a life. So, yes, can you do it? Absolutely. And I go back and I'll check a couple of these just to make sure. The NPC portrait decks, adventure. So this looks very similar to what we're getting now. Let's just go to the comments, make sure people got it. I mean, that's the big thing. 96 comments, so it's not a flaming dumpster fire. I haven't received the item. Weird, looks like it was delivered. I'll respond to yeah, and look at this. So this is a straggler. One person. Travis, I didn't get it. And they were immediately like, bam, we're on it. We'll PM you. Excellent. So great customer service here. Do I want it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. Just price me right now. Cut through the fat. Don't beat around the bush. Let's just get to it because you've already convinced me. SideQuest decks are system agnostic tabletop RPG plot outlines and maps. I don't want to read anymore. I don't want to read anymore ever. So here we go. Each poker side card has a map on one side and a mini adventure outline on the other side. The outline starts with a short. I don't want this. I want this information. A single deck's PDF starts at $5, and a printed deck with PDF is $12. I feel like most people are going to want the printed deck, right? Charge later. At various tiers, that per deck cost goes down a bit. I'm immediately not liking how clunky this feels because it kind of feels like you did get down to the price, which is what I want, but at the same time, you're still selling me on it. And you mentioned shipping here. Okay. Take a step back. Note, we'll have friendly shipping rates for the US, Canada, EU, UK, Australia, and New Zealand thanks to distributor in this country. See shipping below for details. Cool. Seems like an odd place to throw it. Okay. So, these are poker size. Cool. Whatevs. I'm totally fine with that. I got no issues with the size of these. Monster Hunts. Great. This is good. I just want the price. Just hit me with the tiers, the pledge levels. That's all I need. Like, this is good stuff to have, don't get me wrong. Going more into the weeds, but get to all the price and all the shipping before we get down to this, because I feel like your video, you got me already. I don't need to go through more of this. This is great. I love that you're showing me all this. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it needs to be below your reward tiers. If you are a game facilitator that enjoys creating within a confined space, I think these products will appeal to you. That is such an odd. The outlines are enough to keep you moving forward for a night of play, but have enough room to add your own traps, puzzles, musters, or mechanical widgets that I feel like they can take out a comfortable blackboard to bounce ideas against. This is great. And honestly, this is a quote that I would have like prettified and maybe put up higher. That seems like a great quote. And I'm sure gnomes too. Maybe if I was more in the know on RPGs, that would mean something to me. So, if that's the case, and that's awesome. On each of these cards, you'll find what you need to fuel a session. It's not several. If not several, it's not every day you can get a year's worth of adventures ideas in a single box. Excellent. Excellent. Highly recommended checking them out. If your player needs a break, yeah, these quotes I would put up higher. Prior Sidequest decks, cool. The add-ons we talked about, it's cool. I'd still like to know more about the price before you try to get me on all these add-ons. If you don't want to wait to get our prior decks, the SideQuest decks and the NPC decks are available in our store now. What? Aren't we getting those? Okay. Okay. How much is it? Wait, $4.99. Oh, that text is really tiny on that website, but that's not your website. $4.99, $12.99. Okay, cool. But I want the Kickstarter. Okay, so shipping. Well, we've set up rewards for one deck for okay, one SideQuest deck PDF. No, this is the PDF. 34 backers. Okay, cool. One printed deck and the matching PDF. I imagine this is where a lot of people are going to be, just to taste it. 95. I think 4 is going to be the sweet spot, though. I think everybody's got the 4. PDFs, and then bam. Only 34. Okay. So we got 4 printed decks. Oh, this is it. Yeah, so the 4 printed. Wait, this is weird. So we go to 4 SideQuest decks, PDFs, to the 10 SideQuest decks, to the 4 printed decks and matching PDFs, $185. Yeah, so that I figured that might be the big one, because $42. That's a lot. All in 15 SideQuest decks. Oh, that's what people want. So that's the whale. That's the big one, right? All in. No, that's the all in. That's the whale. That's the PDF whale, which is odd. I don't find myself saying that too often, but yes, the PDF whale. Whatevs. This is the 10 printed decks, so this is not the whale. This is the whale. 15, and yeah, 133. I feel like that could have been put a little bit clearer with like a picture. Just like a tiered level. Like one PDF. Let me see if I can figure it out. Like, put my money where my mouth is of what I'm trying to say here. So there's no thank you, because we don't want thank yous here. $5, one PDF. And it's the first tier, $5 digital tier PDF thing. Okay? One of them. And maybe you have a whole bunch of them listed. And then this is $12, and this is one deck of cards with whatever the shipping may be, plus the PDF. Cool. And then we go to the second one. This is 4 of the PDFs, but then 4... See, because then this is where it gets confusing. Like, I don't expect it to be that there. So then 4... I don't know. I just feel like this could have been a little bit cleaner with how to do it. Like, once we get there, it's fine. I don't know. Maybe that's more of a nitpick, but it's just... I didn't feel like this area was as clear as I'd like it to be. But anyway, let's keep going. I think we saw everything, didn't we? No. There's more. Okay. Wow, this is a lot. So this is all you talking about the past stuff, which is cool. Sell me on the stuff. We're working with a company that has fulfillment centers located in the U.S., Canada, the UE. So here we go. And once again, I would get some pictures here. This could, like, it's great that you have all this. $6 flat. Oh, that's great. Wow, this is great. This is functionally, this has all the information I need. It's very clunky. Also, I put the USA at the top just because half the people that back generally on Kickstarter are from the United States of America, so it just makes sense. So, but it does look like you have, so let's see, how much is it to Canada? One deck is $16. Wow! $16 for one deck of cards? That's a lot. Australia, $20 flat. So that one kind of pushes them to do the big one. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the shipping section. Not necessarily just because of the prices, but just because of the layout, and I feel like a picture there would have just made everything so much cleaner and clearer. And once again, it kind of goes with the tiered pledge thing up here. I just think pictures are your friend, and I think they would just make it a little bit easier and more inviting to the people. Also, I love that the shipping was next to the cost as well, especially when $6 flat rate shipping. I mean, as a USA backer, it's like, well, now I'm definitely going to get at least a 10-pack or a 4-pack. But let's check out the FAQ, the updates, the comments. Let's get, because that was it. That was it, right? I think I saw everything that was here. No, there was more. Okay, collaborators. We're blessed to work with a great team of innovative RPG creators. That's great. The collaborators on the cart. I still think you need collaborators on the project itself in the updates and the comments. So FAQ, can I substitute some of the NPC decks into a pledge for X Sidequest decks? Yes, you'll be. I don't know what that means, but okay. It looks like there's a clear and concise answer there. Awesome. Updates. So that right there tells me that this is not a very engaging update. No comments on it, despite the fact we have 694 people. 694 people who are dungeon masters, most likely, which means we know they're very loquacious people who love to talk, which means this update and comment section should be popping. It should be popping. So let's see what this first update is. All right, thank you for joining us in this venture. I know you're going to love the final products. We got tons of compliments on these, and they consistently sell well at any convention we visit. Since this is the first time we've really embraced marketing, we're new to many of you, so I feel introductions are in order. And that was it. And, you know, it kind of came as a surprise, like, at the end of that video, like, oh, you got all this other stuff? That's cool. And I feel like you should have just left it just like that. So it's like, oh, now I want to scroll down and see what other kind of adventures you have. Whereas just, you kind of just laid everything out. We do this, and 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 this. And I know that sounds like I'm being hyperbolic, but that's kind of how the end of the video went. Which it wasn't, I didn't think it was the way to go. But once again, people let me know in the comments below, because they fivered me on this one. So I really want everyone's honest feedback on this one in the comments down below, because it's really valuable stuff. I'm Joe Wetzel, the owner founder of the Equal Ideas. I've been playing tabletop RPG since 1983 with a few of the other company background. So this is okay. Introducing yourself, it's a little bit odd, but I like the fact that you're bringing a personal touch into it. I don't have an issue with that in any way, shape, or form. And I always say Kickstarters that have more personal touches, I feel like just do better, because it doesn't just feel like I'm supporting the game. I'm supporting, you. And that's something you want to do. You want to help see people succeed. Our 3 biggest non-software projects, stretch goals. Oh, so for stretch goals, we want to see how things settle after the first couple of days before announcing anything. We have a few stretch goal ideas in mind, but we're open to suggestions. Awesome. While I likely have the time to do an additional deck or 2 split among our writers and cartographers, I'm leaning to limiting the scope and not doing something like that. I think we're better off with upgrades and additional... Blah, 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 blah. So here's my first thing. I think this should be number 1, and I think it should be phrased immediately as a question. And so let's see. FAQ, introduction, our store, stretch goals. Okay, so yeah, you list everything here, but I feel like his stretch goals is what... Because you need people to be commenting. That's your goal here. That is always the goal of the update, is to get that engagement. And read these 3 Kickstarter links down below. They are spectacular. They're not my links, but they're all about how you can tickle Kickstarter algorithms and get yourself bumped up higher on that popularity chart. We did make one addition to the FAQ that I should note. I don't know if that really needs to be here, but whatever. You don't have to wait for the prior decks. You can get them in the store. Cool. But this right here, this is the money. Stretch goals, and what are your ideas on how to make this Kickstarter better? I would lead with that question, because how many people start reading this and then they're like, oh, this guy's just talking about himself and his company. Okay, whatever. Like, it's like, I'm here for the project. I don't really care. Some people will, some people will not, but I just think you should lead with those stretch goals first. Hey, everybody, we take a look at this project over on Roll for Review. Yeah, okay, cool. Getting Joe up in there. I see there are 15 Sidequest decks and a tier to get all 15, but it seems there are NPC decks also. Is an easy way to get all the available decks in one tier, a.k.a. the whale. Do I have to figure out how many decks to add on? Since this Kickstarter is focused on... this is a lot. Let me read this. Okay. Since this Kickstarter is focused on the SideQuest decks, we chose to only make rewards going to the total number of side tests we've made. Although you can substitute NPC decks if there are some side quests. For now on, there are 9 NPC decks in all, but 5 are more recent with more consistent great art adventures. Candidly, the other 4 have some great art, but some of that is below average. So you'd need to add on 9 decks to the 15 deck reward to get them all, or add on 5 to get the more recently. Whoa! That was a lot. That was a lot, and I can't fault them at all for that. They're incredibly honest here. And I will tell you this. Chris is going to be a happy person right there, because they were super honest, and they might have saved Chris money right there. They said, "You know what? The art's great, but we hadn't got as good as this yet as we would have liked." And I love that. Quite frankly, I love that. Hey everyone, we'll be featuring this project tonight on Roll for Review. When it comes to stretch goals, it would be really neat to see cross. Oh, and this is great. You got Wade commenting over here. And you responded to it. Excellent. Awesome. Very pleased about the 15 deck stretch goal, and I'm also glad they're avoiding stretch goals that could lead to additional delays. Oh, so you've got people talking about your update over here. Interesting. Did you ask them to come over here, or are they just commenting over here? So we have a few stretch goal ideas, but we're open to suggestions. Okay. So you didn't actually ask them to come in there. They just came over here and commented instead of in your updates. That's interesting. Okay. But you got people who are interested. What's about stat block cards for any non-standard monsters and item cards for any new monster? Could be blah, 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 blah. The Sidequest decks are designed to mostly cool whatevs. I'd love that each encounter comes with a digital map. So this is good. This is good customer service here. And in the end, I'm looking at this. Do I want it? Yes. Can you do it? Yes. And in fact, you're very honest about it. How much is it? I feel like the price is reasonable. I mean, I honestly have no idea how much something like this would cost. Normally, in the board game world, when I say $12 for a tuck box and I got to pay, $6 shipping, $18 for tuck box games, that's not worth the value. But this is a whole different beast, because this is for RPGs, and RPGs are just a different beast entirely. So I'm going to give this one a 2, which is back it for the whale. No, I'll give it a 1. I think I'm going to give it a 1 because the 2 is kind of confusing. No, so this would be the whale. And yeah, I'll give it a 2. I mean, if this looks like something that you would really, really enjoy as a DM, then yeah, go for it. Because let's be honest with this $140 purchase, if you're a DM, and this is from my experience with DMs, and I've played games with a lot of DMs, I've talked with a lot of DMs, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. Like, as long as you're DMing, you will have these decks, right? Like, I don't see you ever getting rid of these decks, because each time you get them out, it's going to be different. It's not just like, oh, it's the same adventure again, because you have 52. I think it's a great idea. But in the end, RPG, Sidequest, decks, that was that. Even though I do think, I don't know. I feel like this right here was just, what else could we put here to make that a little bit more versatile? Because remember, the main image tells you Monster Lair, Small Towns, and Pulp Adventures. Maybe tell me just more about exactly what it is, or how there's like 15 different paths you can take, high seas, pirate sports. Anything else I think would be good right there. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.